All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of High Off the Glass. Everybody, we are super excited to be here. We have literally basketball royalty, is in the building. We have on today's episode of High Off the Glass. I'm so happy to start this out. We have Miss Bryna Jones, everybody, daughter of Casey Jones. Welcome. Welcome, ma'am.
All right,
Welcome.
yes.
We're so happy to have you. We have the athletic, super smart pop culture diva. This sister knows her pop culture in and out. And I am joined today by my co-host, my brother Rodney Michael is here in the building. And Rodney Michael was making a great point, something I want to say as well. Finish your point right before we were going to get started. Go ahead, bro.
Yes, I was talking about the history of the Celtics and you being the daughter of someone that my dad mentioned a lot. And also the fact that St. Louis in this area, we got some players in the history and now that play with the Celtics. My dad he actually went to school with JoJo White.
Ooh.
He went to school with JoJo White, who's from St. Louis, Missouri. Great basketball player. My dad used to talk about how JoJo used to kill him. So it's like, wait, he is in the NBA. So at least you held your own somewhat,
Right.
So that history of the Celtics is rich. And the fact that I don't know how many people know this, our listening audience, this is for you. The Celtics was the first organization in the NBA to actually have an African-American player coach. So that goes a long way to the rich history of what the Boston Celtics is, not just for the NBA, but for African Americans as well. So to have you here representing that and your dad is an honor for us and the great.
Mr. Russell was the first Black coach in North American sports. In North American sports.
That makes it
big.
Yes. Player coach. Yeah, that's huge.
For real.
Russell.
So thank you.
Thank
you, Ms. Jones.
Of course.
Man,
Of course.
thank
It's
you.
my pleasure.
I would, before we jump into, because we can definitely dive into, Celtics lore, your dad, because, I'm a huge fan of your dad. I know where I'm from. I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts, so it's already a given. But I actually want, I was raised with it.
Well, let me ask you this before we get to, can you tell he lost his accent? He'd been away for so long.
Me too. I did too. We moved around so much. It comes back when you move up. When you go visit up there, it comes back really easy.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like being in the environment. It's like it snaps back. Boom.
It snaps back. Same thing with Hawaii. When I go back to Hawaii, I sound like I'm local. I sound like I'm from there. Yeah.
Right.
I hear it.
And I was we were talking about, he was asking me about Massachusetts stuff earlier. I was trying to tell him, Boston people sound unlike any other group up in the East Coast. Not like Philly, not like New York, not like Jersey.
Not like Jersey.
Totally different.
Right.
Boston people are totally different. But Springfield people don't sound like Boston people. That's a whole nother conversation, Rod. I'll tell you about that later. We sound totally different. But anyway, my question was, to you, Miss Jones, like, being born into, basketball royalty, how was it for you? Like, how was your childhood? First off, where were you? Were you in Maryland? Were you in Boston? Like, where were you at? Where were you born?
Well, I was born in Massachusetts, and I was born during the playoffs.
Oh,
wow!
For Dad, he has five. Well, he has six children altogether. Five from mom and dad, and then one from my stepmom. Okay. And when we were born, I think he didn't get to see. I think only got to see my brother and one of my other sisters born, because the other time he was playing.
Oh,
so
okay.
So he was on the court, and one of them, the very first time, and my sister she was the first child born. He was at the hospital, and the doctor was like, "Do you have to go to your game?" He goes, "Yeah, I gotta go." Okay, so he went to the game, and he said, "Don't worry, she'll be out by the time you get to court." And they induced her, not because of medical reasons. They said because he wanted not to be distracted to play the game.
That's
so mom was like, she was like, "What?" They put her to sleep, and boom, the baby was out. And she was like, "What the heck is that?"
That's great.
Isn't that something? But
let me ask you this. Do you remember how many points he scored the night you were born?
Good
That's a
question.
good question. I gotta find that out. It wasn't a lot.
Damn good question.
He didn't shoot a lot, but that's an excellent question, and I have to find out.
Okay.
I will find out. I know that's a good question. When he retired as a player, I was 1.5 years old. I was almost 2 years old. And ironically, when people see me in those pictures, they think I'm 4 because I've been tall all my life.
All your life.
Right.
Came out tall, you know. So, but so I know him more as a coach than a player.
Okay.
And so when I was telling another friend, I said when Dad retired, then he went to Brandeis and Harvard to coach, and then he went to the Lakers. And I was 6 and 7 years old when he went to the Lakers, 71, 72.
Okay.
And at that age, I knew that we were in enemy territory. And I was that young, but I knew I was like, we are with the enemy. So it was ingrained in me. I was born a Celtic fan. I was born a Celtic lover. So, but I just remember that. I remember that for sure. And I didn't realize that Dad played. It was funny. I didn't realize that Dad played against Will Chamberlain until I was older. And
really?
When Will was on the team, because we didn't have ESPN back then. There was no.
Oh yeah, classics. You know what that meant? Yeah.
You know, there was no way to see Dad playing. So I just remembered Mr. Will Chamberlain being on the team with Dad, playing with them and the Lakers. And I remember going to practice and I said, you run too slow. Now I'm 6 and 7 years old telling Will Chamberlain, I said, you run too slow. And he was like, really? I said, yes, you run too slow. And this is after, when they were shooting around after practice was done, And he goes, I really run slow. I said, you run really slow. And he said, well, you want to race? I said, yeah, we'll race. And so he got on the baseline. I got with him. And he goes, you ready? I said, yeah. I said, go. And that boy took off down. He didn't play around. He didn't sit there with a little baby. No, he was down.
Yeah, Ms. Jones, you thought you could race. You thought you could beat Will Chamberlain in a foot race at 7 years old.
Yes.
Wow. I was
sure about
the confidence in you.
Confidence in you. And he fell out laughing. He was gone. And he said, do you think I'm slow anymore? I said, no, you're not slow anymore. I don't think so.
Oh my goodness. This is when Elgin Baylor, Jerry West's team. Casey Jones was assistant coach with them.
Assistant coach, and the head coach was Bill Sharman, who was his teammate for the Celtics.
Sure was. Oh, and they probably got Bill because the Lakers kept, I call them the fakers. So I'm sorry. That's what I call them. So the fakers, they constantly losing to the C's. So let's get some of that C's magic. So they get Bill Sharman.
That's what it seemed like.
Let's get some of your teammates. Bring your teammates. How long was your father assistant with the fakers?
Just 1 year when they won the championship.
Wow.
And they had the longest winning streak. I think it was 33 games. They just celebrated it a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So it took 2 Celtics to do it. And what's his name was playing? I love him too. He's an awesome coach. Pat Riley was playing.
Yeah. With the Lakers.
The Lakers. Yeah. And my mom said, mom was very interesting because she said when she went to, because back then the wives and stuff, it was all about supporting your husband, they're in the game and stuff like that. So they knew, not to distract them or whatever, and be, they're just there for them. Well, so when she went to the Lakers team, the wives of the Lakers were like, you have no idea what you did to our husbands when the Celtics kept on beating us. You have no idea. She goes, oh.
Right.
Great.
Sorry. So it was amazing to hear that,
That is great.
They said it was rough, and she's like, well, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. They're super nice, but she was like, it was interesting to hear how it affected the family, off the court.
Right.
But, but that was the team.
I got to ask this just because I know the area. So I'm, later I'll regret not asking. How long was Casey at Brandeis and Harvard? And what was he an assistant coach there? What did he do there?
To tell you the truth, because he retired in 67, March of 67. Okay. And then he, was it a year or two? It wasn't very long. Okay. It was like 2 years, I think, with Brandeis and 1 year with Harvard. It was something like that, really short.
Right.
And then he went straight, then he, got the call to go to the Lakers. And so that was his first NBA coaching experience, and he got a ring.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So
that is
when you
amazing.
guys, so after that, he becomes an assistant with the Celtics. He's under Tommy Heinsohn. Was Tommy the coach at the time?
No, after that he goes to the ABA for the San Diego Conquistadors.
Oh. Wow. How long was he down there?
He was there for a year or two. That was only a year as well. And then he got the head coaching job with the Washington Bullets, now the Wizards.
Okay.
He was the head coach of the Bullets?
Yeah, with Russ Unseld and
I was just about
Hayes,
to say, so did he
Kevin Porter,
Wes Unseld, Porter,
yep. Phil Chenier, Mike Reardon.
Wow.
And they won it in was he the head coach when they won it?
No, it was Mr. Unseld, I thought, that won it.
Yeah, Wes Unseld won Wes
Unseld was a player coach when they
won.
No,
he was a coach.
He was just a coach by then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when we were there, it was just dad. It was dad and Bernie Bickerstaff.
Okay.
Yeah, he and Uncle Bernie. That's Uncle Bernie.
Bernie Bickerstaff is Uncle Bernie to you.
Uncle
Wow. So how do you, since you bring up Bernie, what do you think about JB, the job he's doing, his son in Cleveland? What do you think about that?
Fabulous. Fabulous, because we've been seeing them since they were kids. Right. And we just recently got reconnected with them because of a wonderful friend on Twitter, Peter Versey. Who's
Peter Versey?
Yeah.
The journalist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Peter Versey.
Yeah. So he knows Dad from all the way from the Celtics all the way to Supersonics. But we were kids, so we didn't get involved with the reporters or anything. We let Dad do his thing. You know what I mean? We stayed in the background. So Mr. Peter said, he goes, I talk to Bernie all the time, because he said, have you talked to Bernie since your dad passed? I said, no, we don't know where he is. Where he is. We heard from Phil Chenier. We heard from Ronnie Lott. We heard from Palmer.
How did Ronnie Lott get there? The
football player? A couple days after Dad passed. I was like, wow.
Wow.
He said,
that is so much history.
How did he know him? How were they connected?
He just watched his career and watched how Dad held himself. And he said, because of Dad watching him helped him in his career.
Right, you know what? And I don't mean to interrupt, but I will say that
I know where you're gonna go with it.
Not yet. Brandeis is a very prestigious university. It's always one of the top 15 in the country, and it's a member of the same conference that I graduated from, Washington University here in St. Louis.
Oh, nice.
So when I ran track, so when I was at Brandeis, I remember when I was touring the university, and I saw that Casey Jones was one of the coaches there. So when you mentioned that, I was like, that brought that memory back. I've been out of college for almost 30 years now, so I'm a little older than old.
That's okay. I am too.
He's old for real. No, but you don't look it, Miss Jones. He look it. You don't look it.
So what I was going to say is that with that being such a prestigious university, and from what I know about Casey Jones, and you obviously from looking at what I Googled on you, because I can get my questions together, that intelligence just rings through the whole family. And Ronnie Lott was one of the most intelligent players, even though I didn't like who he played for. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan too.
Oh, yes. Yep. Oh, yes. You hear that,
Dude, I already knew she was. I was just trying to stay away from it, bro.
Wow.
I already know. I was just trying to stay away from it.
Yes.
This is great. Oh, I know you. Now you want to talk it. No, you want Bryna. He didn't want to say shit. I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind me cussing. He didn't want to talk about shit for the last 2 weeks. For the last 2 weeks, he didn't want to say shit about fucking football. He forgot football existed. He forgot football existed.
I had to
kind of
adjust to the loss that wasn't supposed to happen.
Should be used to it, fool. Told you it was coming. You should be used to it.
I've been eating that peanut butter.
You're talking about our team.
Oh, I tell you, I've been eating that. Yeah. I've been a fan since 1975 because when we were in Washington territory here in Maryland, I would watch football with Dad. And so
why could you be a Skins fan then?
No,
because I liked how the Dallas Cowboys reset in those days. They would stand up and get back down, and I thought that was cool. So Dad said, so he started teaching me.
We started that.
That was us. And then
we started that.
So we would watch it every Sunday. We would watch the Cowboys, and then one day my mom, she was watching the Cowboys. She goes, "Oh, that's your cousin." And I was like, "What? Who's our cousin?" He goes, "Preston Pearson on the Cowboys. That's your cousin." She's on my mom's side of the family.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I've been a fan since '77. I remember the diving catch that Bush Johnson did in the end zone in the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos. When I saw that catch, that's when I was like, "This is my team."
Oh my goodness!
This is my team.
Oh my goodness!
I love them ever since, and we choke sometimes, but dang,
oh my God. Now, can tell you
sometimes.
O can tell you this. There was a period of 3 years where I divorced them because I was so hurt by the way we lost to the Detroit Lions. I was hurt by that game where Calvin Johnson blitzed us for 329 yards.
No, you did not bring up the divorce, fam. No, you did not bring up the divorce. You should have left the divorce out the conversation.
Yeah, but I brought him back. I remarried him.
That's Brianna, as long as you come back, that's okay.
That's it.
Miss Bryna, do you believe this though? Can you please drag this man? This man claims to be a I'm sorry, I call y'all cowgirls sometimes. Cowgirl fan, Cowboys fan, and he left y'all for 3 whole years talking about I ain't messing with no football. I'm not messing with that Dallas team, and then ran back to y'all for some weird, strange reason. You okay with that? Are you okay with that? Hush, let her talk. Let her talk.
Because he came back. If he didn't come back, then I was like, oh, yeah, but he came back.
Oh,
that's the main thing. Because I'm a Cubs fan too, see? Broken-hearted.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Only got one. So that's why I'm like, I have compassion. I understand.
We can tell your daddy moved around a lot. You like teams everywhere. Cubs. Wow. Yeah,
Cubs. My sister's a White Sox fan. But we live near the Cubs, but she's a White Sox fan.
She likes the White Sox.
Yeah. Wow. When was Casey? Was Casey in Chicago? Did he coach was he assistant with the Bulls?
I moved out there for a job, so I was. I just ended up being up there. So I'm a Bears fan as well. I love the Chicago Bears, but my first love has always been Dallas because that's what Dad taught me on. That's my daddy little girl time. So I always have a special. Think about it for him. And Ted, too tall Ed Jones, Ed too tall. I hope that was our cousin, but that was.
Wow. I hate that.
Every time you saw Jones' name.
Yes.
You just think that's a cousin. That's my cousin.
That's our cousin. Dad's like, no, we're not related. So well.
I hear you.
Bryna, this is my last question because this is why it's my last question because I love the game of basketball and I'm a referee. So I have a game tonight.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to ask you, how much are you a big fan
of what?
Of basketball?
Oh, heck yeah.
So you just
heck yeah.
Like, how much of a fan are you? Like, would you ever
he doesn't have Twitter. He doesn't have Twitter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I should have said that. He does not have Twitter. He doesn't know.
I'm such a big fan that I have a big mouth. So like I went to a Chicago's game, a Bulls game, and my sister was sitting next to me, and we were just my sister works for Michael Jordan, but she didn't get the tickets from him, so we would follow the Bulls too, So we were sitting at the game, and I was like, blah blah blah. No, he should have called the timeout. No, this guy should be in. This guy so I was I'm so used to. That's how I did with Dad. Me and Dad would talk watching the game. He should have done that. No, that's not the right play. So we would always do that. So I just naturally do that. And this guy sitting next to me, he goes, "You really know basketball?" I said, "Mm-hmm." Yes, I do.
I see.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan.
That's great.
Wow.
Well, I just want to say it's been an honor for me. I hate that schedule this like this because I got to ref.
That's okay. I'll come back. I'll come back.
Okay, good. Now I was just gonna ask, could you come back for a second show?
Yes, totally.
I love that.
Problem.
We have another member of our crew that would love to talk to you as well.
Oh yes, I'll come back.
Thank you for this opportunity. I love talking to you, and I'm just speechless right now. I wish I didn't have to leave.
Enjoy your game, man, and ref it well.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Right. Very nice to meet you, and I'll see you another time.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Don't be a blind ref out there. Right on. Hey, thank you for dealing with that. That's my co-host. That's my boy right there. That's my brother. He is he's a wild boy. But yeah, I knew that. I knew y'all were that was your team. I was praying he wouldn't say nothing. Oh my goodness, I already knew it.
Don't bring it up.
Right, you know what I'm saying.
All right.
But I wanted to bring it back to okay. So Dad is in Washington. He's with the Bullets. He goes down to San Diego. He's with the Conquistadors.
Yeah, he was with the Conquistadors first. Then he went to.
Then he went to the Bullets. Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
He first got his first All-Star game as a coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, as a head coach for the
coach. Yeah.
For the Bullets.
For the Bullets.
Wow, and he was. So what year was this?
It was 70. He went there from 73, 74 to 78, 77, 78, someplace around there.
And he was an all-star head coach.
Yeah.
Wow, for the East. That is amazing.
East, yeah.
Yeah. So he's with there. He wins the championship. So he goes from there. He doesn't win the champion.
He never did. That's Wasenso. Wasenso wins the championship.
Right,
Dad never won.
That.
Yeah, he got to the playoffs and they got to the finals, but they never won. And I remember I think it was his third year or something. And Mom, we were watching the playoffs on TV, and Mom said, if Dad doesn't win this game, he's fired. Okay.
Yeah.
So in your elementary school, that's kind of a hard thing to hear.
Mom said that. And what grade were you in when she says this?
I was junior high.
You were in junior high?
I was in junior high.
Oh, my goodness.
She was walking by. Well, if Dad loses this game, he's fired. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
And sure enough, he lost it, and he was fired.
Wes Unseld was fired, and that meant that your dad was fired.
No, Dad was fired.
Yeah, because I'm sorry. Yeah, Dad was a head coach. I'm tripping.
Dad was a head coach. Yep.
But they didn't. But he made it. The record was obviously good. He was an all-star head coach for the East. That didn't get him any. That didn't garner any sway. No,
and this also was a controversial thing, kind of, because somebody was taking photos or videos or something of the last plays being called, and Uncle and Dad is collective. He's like, if somebody wants to say something, go ahead and say it. So he let Uncle Bernie share one of his plays, and so the picture showed Dad sitting back and Uncle Bernie doing the plays. So people are like, oh, Casey didn't know what he's doing, so he just So they got a picture in the paper of Bernie calling the play. So it was like, oh, he's not. Oh, wow, isn't that weird how stuff gets painted like that? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's
and my mom said, oh yeah, there's some other things going on there, but that was like the number one thing. And so that was a rough time for Dad. Dad said and I didn't realize this until after I read his book. He gave us, each one of us kids, his book. And in there, because Dad's not very verbal,
Right.
So it's hard for him to talk about stuff. There's stuff that to this day we don't know in his family, you know what I mean? His wonderful brother, we never got to meet his brother. His brother passed away before we were born. So there was stuff about his family we didn't even know because he's so internalized things.
Why is that? Why was that, do you think?
He was born that way. He's the oldest, he's the firstborn of 5. Okay. And he just, I just think he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders the whole time. And he just didn't want to, stress anybody else. So he just kept everything inside. Huh.
Was it like that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say he was like that. Like people say, oh, he's quiet on the court. I said, he's quiet at home.
Yeah.
Except when he's he's super, he has the best sense of humor and he's fun to watch movies with and hanging out and stuff like that. But like, when I got older, like in my 40s, and I said, Dad, I just want to know about you. I just want to know more about you. And Dad went like this. He was looking at me, and then he looked at the TV. Just started watching TV. I was like, okay.
He didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing. Wow.
Yeah, he's just very internal. He's an internal kind of guy.
Some people are like that. People are like that.
Yeah, that's
okay. So wow, that is so crazy because he's one of my favorite coaches of all time, and I did not know he even coached the Bullets. That's crazy. So I'm assuming he leaves there in 78.
Yes.
And then does he join Bill Fitch's staff with the Celtics, or what happened? Wow.
Not yet. He goes to Milwaukee.
The Bucks. Okay.
It was Bucks, and Don Nelson, I think, was the head coach at the time.
Sure was. He was on his staff.
He's on his staff. And just before I got on this call, one of the guys on Twitter, his brother was the trainer when Dad was with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Wow.
Before I got on this call, he said,
Right.
So he said, my brother knew your dad. Da, da, da. So it was cool. But he was there
That's
for a
awesome.
year, and we were
Yeah.
actually, we went out there Mom went out there to look for a house. And right when she found the house, Dad got fired.
Are you serious? Jeez.
Like,
so you
thanks,
guys,
Don.
right. So you guys stayed in DC. You stayed in DC or Virginia while he was out there.
Yeah.
Hey, wow. How does that work? Like, tell me that is the question, Bryna. Like that constant movement, that stress on a traveling family, a family who, your professional athlete's family. What type of toll is that on you all? Like, how does that work for you guys?
Well, it was I'm finding out like later in life, as we all are as adult children and getting reconnected with our mom and stuff, we didn't realize how each person was handling it. So for me, I was tall, I was the tallest girl, no matter since first grade, no matter where I went. So I always had to go through the, wow, you're tall, or wow, who is it? So it was always that people's reaction had been getting over that. So every time we moved, I had to go through that every time. And that was stressful for me. And then we had to make new friends, and people were going to find out about Dad. And once they find out about Dad, they assume you play basketball. If you don't play basketball, then what's wrong with you? So for me, I was going through that. For my brother, he was going through, I got to prove myself again because I play basketball. I got to prove myself again because my name is KC, but he went by Kipper when he was younger. My mom called him Kipper. So that, got him a little bit of shelter. But my oldest sister loved it because there was 5 of us. She goes, no matter where we went, there was 5 friends. So she had no problem. And my middle sister was kind of like, it's no big deal. And my baby sister, like, this is crazy. So we all had different, and my mom, she handled it extremely well. And she just, she had to move by herself because Dad was, playing, or he was coaching, or he was doing something. So she had to get houses moved. We moved like 7 times, I think, as a family. Wow. And she had to find the house. She had to decorate the house. She had to get everything packed, and with 5 children. So she said, her mom had 8 children. So she said, 5 is no big deal. If my mom can do stuff with 8, they may not have moved, but they were able to handle. She says, I can do it with 5. So she never complained. Wow. She did what she had to do, and she helped us adjust quickly. And so she was our constant. Dad was not at home all the time because they would go on trips for 3 weeks. They go on trips to 2 weeks. So we were used to not seeing Dad. So when he was there, it was like a special, yay, Dad's here. So we got to hang around Dad and as much as we can. Then he had to go, for Christmas, get up in the morning, do your presents, and he had to go out the door, not Halloween, Easter, he had to do the same thing, for all the major holidays, he was gone, or we were at the game with him, or so moving and all that kind of stuff. It was hard on me, but my mom, she said that's no big deal. She learned how to do it, and she was fine.
Right. Did the NBA help move y'all? Did the teams do it for you?
No, it'd be nice.
What? They didn't do that?
No.
Oh wow. No, only reason when I was in the military, when I was in the Navy, I remember my grandmother said, when I left, the Navy came to my home and got all my stuff. I think my grandmother boxed up some stuff, and I think they boxed up some stuff, and they threw everything in the thing and shipped it out to where I was moving to. I'm surprised that NBA didn't do that for you guys. I guess
there's so many people, and there's so many moving pieces. I think that'll be probably too difficult for them to handle. It would be perfect. You would think, because the military, there's way more military people than NBA, you know what I mean? But I think to find the resources to do that for that particular thing, I think is difficult. Then you also have to wait for the wives to find the house, because usually the wife is the one has to, because the man is doing something. So it has to be the mom, but that would have been awesome if they did that.
They sure should have. Okay, so and something you said earlier kind of struck me when you said adjusting to your new area. You said that people asking, well, you're tall, do you play basketball? But you didn't. I thought you did play basketball and volleyball.
I did when I started playing basketball in 8th grade, the summer of after I finished 7th grade. Dad said, you got to do something with your height, because I was 6 feet by then. I was 6 feet in 7th grade. So he said, you are going to have to do something with your height. So I was trying not to play basketball. I loved the game and I loved watching it. And I already knew the nuances and stuff, but I just never played it because I was very awkward. You know, when you grow so fast, like my aunt, my dad's sister, she said I'd reach for something and I would knock it over because I'm not used to my arms being so long. I would trip over my feet because my feet were so big. I was very odd.
Not odd, you just weren't coordinated yet. You just
yes, I was not. I was not coordinated.
Yeah.
So when I did play for like gym, you know, I would fall a lot. I was not good at all, and that's, to me, that was very embarrassing for this Hall of Famer player and this coach, and their daughter can't play a lick of ball. So I was like, my thing is art. That I was doing art since I was 10 and playing the flute since I was a kid. So those are my things. So Dad was like, you know, he said, you have to do something. So he brought me to his camp because he had a basketball camp since he was a player. And the person I'm named after is his best friend's wife that started his camp. And we still work together because now we do Reds camp. You know, he always did Reds camp, Red Auerbach's camp.
Slow down. So yeah, that's my hero right there.
Yeah.
Along with your dad. Wait, so your dad, where did your dad do the camp at? Like wherever he was coaching?
Wherever. Well, it was usually in, the first camp was called Camp Punk of Moonshine. That was actually the name of that's the name of the camp.
It's funny.
Camp Punk of Moonshine. And there's someplace in Massachusetts. Their camp was usually in Vermont, Massachusetts, New York, someplace East Coast. Cape Cod sometimes. Right. But Steve Curley was the one that they met, and because he was already doing Reds camp, and he wanted to know if Dad wanted to do his camp, and he would run his camp for him. And they met, and they were best friends since the 50s, end of the 50s. Nice. Then they for a year they were hanging out, but they never introduced Mom and his wife, which is Bryna. I go by anything, Bryna, Brianna, whatever. But Bryna.
Oh, did I say it right? I'm sorry. How do I?
No, that's okay. So I go by Bryna is how you go by it, but I have a lot of nicknames.
Bryna is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Bryna. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. No worries.
Okay,
that's okay.
Right off.
So when Mom and Bryna got together for the first time, my mom said, "Oh, that's a beautiful name," and so Bryna was like, "Oh, that's cool." So they didn't see each other for a year. Dad and Curly did, but not Bryna and Beverly. So the next year, Bryna and Beverly get back together, and Mom tells Bryna, "Oh, Bryna, so nice to see you." And Bryna was like, "You're the first person to say it right and to remember it." So they're best friends to this day. They're in their 80s and they're still best friends. And then that's how I became Bryna. Even though I'm still little Bryna, even though I'm 6'3", and big Bryna is 4'10".
Right, exactly. She always gonna be big Bryna.
She's always gonna be big Bryna.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That is so cute.
Did I answer the other question though?
No, you did. So okay, so Dad brings you to his basketball camp.
Yes.
Where are you? Are you guys? You're at Reds in Massachusetts?
No, this one we were at Dad's own camp, and it was in Vermont at this time. And I forgot the name of the place, but it's in Vermont. And I remember him taking me on the court, with the outdoor court, which is a tennis court that had hoops at each end. Okay. So I remember to this day, he would walk out and said, "Now, this is how you shoot the ball." You go this is how you do a lip. So he would do it. He would show me. He would demonstrate it, and I would follow him. Right. And I remember he was just very kind, very laid back, never yelled, just very, very chill. And so the first 2 days of camp, I cried. I didn't tell, because it's an overnight camp. You stay overnight in dorms,
Okay.
I cried at night. I didn't tell him.
Oh my goodness.
Because I was so bad and I didn't want nobody to know, it's stressful. So then but my brother he's been in camp since he was born. So he was used to playing and he was awesome already. So he would also help referee, even though he was a student. So he would sit there and coach me while we're playing the games and stuff. And by the third night, I was like, this is the funnest game ever. It's just like a light turned on.
The third night is when you got it.
The third night, that was it. And so by the fifth day, it's only a 5-day camp, but they run you like big time. So the fifth day, I got most improved player.
There
And
you go.
that was it. So I was
That's
like,
awesome.
this is it. So I
Yeah.
went to Andover Junior High, 8th grade, and played. Had a fun,
Yeah.
awesome coach. By 9th grade in Andover Junior High, I was on the All-Star team.
Wow.
So that's how quick. I mean, that's how good a coach that is. Because I had no basketball playing. So he coached me, and my coaches at Andover Junior were awesome. By the time I was 10th grade in high school, in Andover, you don't get to high school till 10th grade. I was starting on the varsity, and I was dunking. Not a pretty dunk, but I could dunk with one hand.
What?
So yeah, not in the game because I couldn't dribble that well. But in practice, I would dunk. I would practice dunking.
You were dunking in 10th grade?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
On a regulation hoop?
Regulation hoop with a regulation ball, with a men's ball. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
So that's a good coach.
Well, yes, it seems like he was a good coach, and your brother's a good coach.
Yes, both.
Goodness. So wow. So that's so crazy. Like all that time of I don't like this game. I don't like this game. I want to be better at it. I hate this game. Why am I not better at it? You stuck with it though, and you finally boom, it clicked.
Yes, it just felt like water. It just felt natural.
Nice.
It just very natural. And so he taught me the ones that were supernatural was the hook shots. He showed me left and right, so I could do both. And my turnaround jumper, as my dad's sister says, was Buddha. He taught me that. She said I had a nice turnaround shot. So, but that's what Dad taught me.
I tell you one thing, Bryna, I wanna play with you one day. I want to hoop against you one day. I want to see you. I want to play against you for real.
I wish. I can't do it anymore because of my knees.
Oh, you can't?
My ankles, yeah. I mean, to the point
goodness.
where I have to be on a wheelchair when I go to the airports because I can't walk that far, or my knees swell up and my ankles swell up.
Are you serious? And that's probably from this other sport I'm about to bring up, volleyball. Now, how did you, with this love of basketball that you had, that was, the genes are in your blood. Where did volleyball come from? Even though it's super similar.
Oh yeah, volleyball. Now I was horrible at volleyball, but it was fun. I liked the idea of the sport. So I played in Andover, and I wasn't good. I played in high school, and so I was just kind of intimidating people more than anything.
Right.
So I was just kind of there. But when I went to Wild Lake, so we went to Andover High, and then when Dad and Mom divorced, when he was still with the Celtics, we moved as kids, and Mom moved back to Maryland. Okay. And Dad stayed in Boston. So I went to Wild Lake High School back in where we were when Dad was with the head coach with the Bullets. So we went to the same neighborhood and everything. So when I was there, my junior year and senior year, I played volleyball, and I had a really good coach. And by the time I was a senior, I was like second team country or county or something like that. So I got really good with that. And then I was also a state champion discus thrower. I had the state champion record for 9 years. So I flourished in Wild Lake down here. But when I got to Hawaii, now that's a volleyball world in Hawaii. And my trainer at school at the University of Hawaii, our basketball trainer, she was a student trainer, Lynn, and she asked me one day, she goes, would you like to come to me on my USVBA, that outside league, my USVBA volleyball team? I was like, I'm not really good. I kind of played, but I'm not really. She goes, no, come with me, we'll teach you. And they taught me shoot threes, 1 sets, 2 sets, and back, they taught me to play and plays. So
okay, slow down. You just threw a lot at me, sister. I hate to interrupt, but discus throwing, did you track too? Oh my goodness, did you do anything else in track?
I was not I tried to run, and my coach cracked up and fell on the floor because I look like I look like a giraffe, So
you probably would have been good at that.
My little sister is. My sister is a sprinter. My little sister, she is a smooth sprinter. Okay. But I just did I did the high jump, which I wasn't good at either. I was high jump, but shot put and discus were my thing. But discus was my love because I never had strong shoulders because I grew so fast. Okay. So when I played dodgeball, for example, in elementary school, I would throw it like a discus. I didn't know that's what it was, but I would rip it and I'd knock people out, So I knocked my best friend out. He was like right in the face.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, but so discus was my thing, and
But what made you gravitate towards that? Who put the discus in your hand?
The coach, my coach in Wild Lake, and he was like, and Andover High, Mr. Collins. Yeah. And he said, try it, because they saw me swinging, throwing stuff away. And they said, if you just do this, and that's when I started flourishing in track. And then my uncle on my mom's side of the family is an all-star track star. And he jumped like 6-7 feet in high school and college.
Wow.
And high jump. So on my mom's side of the family, we have track stars in the blood as well.
Right. So I guess, and that probably, to go back to your parents, that probably was the attraction when they met each other. I mean, they both were athletes.
Well, my mom was a cheerleader. She was one of the first Black cheerleaders in Illinois, in the little town that they grew in. Okay. But what it was is my mom's brother, Carl Kane, her oldest brother, would play against Dad and Uncle Bill in college. He was at the University of Iowa, and they were playing USF. So they would always meet each other in the finals. And so like in the first version of the Hall of Fame in Springfield, you can hear a game playing. It was a NCAA final, and it was Uncle Carl versus Dad and Uncle Bill, and you can hear him, Carl Kane got the ball. He's running. We're like, Carl Kane, and we ran and saw him play against Dad.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So that's where when Mom met, because Mom's mother, grandmama, said, see that young man over there? I think she saw Dad looking at her. He said, see that young man, go get his autograph. And Mom said, I don't want his autograph. Bad, bad, bad. She goes, no, go get him. And she said, and Dad was a showboat when he was younger. He was very cocky, but he was staring at Mom. So,
which I'm shocked by.
Yeah. I mean, when he was, but he chilled out by the time we got to the Celtics, because he was like, oh shoot, I don't know if I can make it. But so she walked over there and asked for his autograph. And he goes, well, who are you rooting for? And she said, not you. She took his autograph and ran away. But then he talked to my Uncle Carl, and Uncle Carl said, I don't introduce my sisters to ball players, but he said, you're friends and stuff like that, so that's okay. But that's how they met, and that's where it started.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. I had no idea. I figured it was something like that. And you say, I'm jumping around a little too much, but I got to mention
that's okay. That's
why right. Because I try to go in some type of order, but your life is so amazing, Miss Jones.
Thank you.
It's outstanding. You say Uncle Bill, because I mean, what was that like when? I guess it has to do with. Did your dad ever talk to you about integration and how they went from the country towns? Because your dad was from the South, right? Where is he from?
Taylor, Texas.
Mr. Russell, he's from the South as well. Where was Bill Russell from? He's
is it Louisiana or someplace over there?
I believe so. And how did they end up in the University of San Francisco, California? Like, that's so weird. Like,
because after Dad's mom and dad divorced when he was 9, they moved to San Francisco. And at that time, I think Uncle Russell was already over there, but they didn't go to the same high school. So Dad went to Commerce High School.
Okay.
And so when Dad was going to Dad played football and basketball in high school. Right. And when Dad finished high school, he was going to go work at the post office. And Uncle Bill was already recruited to go to USF, but Dad was not. And so this gentleman, there was a young lady, and my brother knows her name, but she was instrumental in getting Dad into college. And so was this young sports writer. He asked Dad, he said, where are you going to go to college? And Dad said, I'm not going to college. I'm going to work so my mom will get off her welfare. And he goes, isn't anybody pursuing you? And he said, no. So he said, read my column tomorrow. It'll change. And so he said, okay. So the guy went back and he wrote an article and said, Casey Jones being pursued by UCLA, USC, And he made up all these colleges were recruiting him. Not one person was recruiting. So he put in the newspaper. Next thing you know, colleges were calling him. And USF, and USF was one of them.
Yeah.
And he said, and they said, would you consider playing for our college? And Dad said that I would, but I got to get my mom off of welfare.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
said, well, they said, if we get your mom, help your mom get a job, would you come and play for us? He goes, yeah, I would. So they put her as one of the housekeepers, which is wonderful because she didn't have any job experience because she was taking care of the kids.
Uh-huh.
He said they put her in the best hotel, the Fairmont Hotel, as one of their housekeepers. That's the best hotel that was going on during that day. That's like going to the Ritz-Carlton or something.
Right.
So they took care of her, and Dad was free to play at USF, and so that's how we got over there.
That is amazing. Were they the first ones to integrate that school?
I don't think so. I think they was already integrated before they got there. It's a Catholic school, like a Jesuit school.
Wow.
But I don't think they were the first ones to integrate because I think there were people before him.
Yeah.
But they were so good to him. You know what I mean? They treated them all very well. So
right. That is
yeah,
such an amazing story.
Yeah.
I'm so glad for that writer, that local writer. What paper would it the San Francisco Chronicle, or what paper was it?
I had to find out. My brother knows. Okay. He knows the details. I forgot which I need to find out. Okay, so I'll find out the newspaper, and I'll find that young lady's name too that helped them actually function and get into school.
Heck yeah. We could find out. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no, it's okay. But Dad and Uncle Bill were roommates. I think Uncle Bill was roommate with somebody else, and then they switched him over to Dad.
Right.
And that he said that I'll never forget. Uncle Bill told me Dad didn't say a word for 3 months because again he's very, he's very quiet. Right. He said but they had a great time together, just never talked. And he said the first time your father said anything to me, he said pass the salt, and he said pass the salt. He talks. I can't believe it. And then ever since they were like best buds. Dad would just,
wow.
Dad would do that to Mom too, like this, and at a party, and Mom was like, "What is?" And the wives would look at him, and he goes, "Oh, he just means time to go, Bev. Get your coat." But he wouldn't say it. He would just go, "Yeah."
That's how he did pointed.
He would just point.
So, how often was Mr. Russell at your house? Was it?
Well, they lived together right after Mom and Dad got married, and Uncle Bill and Aunt Rose got married. They were living together. Those two. Yeah. They were living together. And then
they lived together with their wives, like all four of them lived together in the same house.
Same house.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
They were roommates together all the way until Dad and Mom were able to get their own place.
Right.
So when Dad and Mom were able to get their own place, and then they moved out to an apartment, and then that's when they started having my sister, my oldest sister, and so forth.
You guys.
So, but all I remember is when we were so little, to us, they were uncles. They were, they would always, Mom and Dad would always say, "These are your play uncles. This is Uncle Satch. This is Uncle Bill. This is Uncle Willie." Oh, okay, yeah, get a. But we didn't have any conception of what they were doing on the court. All we knew is that they were ball players, but we didn't know that they were changing the sport and they were so successful. You know what I mean? We were just, that's our uncles. And then after Dad retired, when we'd see him, it's Uncle Bill. There's Uncle Satch. We would hang out with them and hang out with their kids, and they were just our buds. But we never talked about basketball. We talked about other stuff.
That's so cool.
But back in retrospect, I wish we did talk about basketball because I would have had more to say,
True, but you were kids having a childhood. Basketball is the furthest thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Uncle Satch was the coolest, and still is the coolest. Uncle Willie was the businessman, and when he was hoping that I would go to UCLA because at the time he lived across near it. And me and my auntie, my mom, my dad's sister, we went and visited Uncle Willie, and his business acumen was like way up here. We were like, intimidated, but I know Uncle Willie most because I taught him the most, like 4 years before he passed.
Who's Uncle Willie?
Willie Knowles.
Willie Knowles?
Willie Knowles. He came from UCLA, and then they got him. I think he played for another team before he got to the Celtics.
Okay, but, I definitely know Tom Satch Sanders.
Yes, Uncle Satch.
Yeah, that was the man. What's another one of his teammates that you guys were real close with?
It was Willie, Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam.
Sam Jones?
Yeah.
There you go. Now there you go. Yeah, because see, Rodney Michael, like we're used to stories, because from Rodney Michael, his father would tell us stories of how he grew up with Sam Jones here in St. Louis. It was amazing. Like he would say, this is the one story that he would always tell me that stood out in my mind. How it was one summer. I don't know if it was like a year's like over time, but like one summer, Sam Jones would come and play basketball with the guys, and they beat him. They beat him really bad. Like he couldn't get up a point. Like they were giving him the business. He said his dad built him a basketball hoop. That whole summer they didn't see him because this was earlier in the summer when they played him. That whole summer they didn't see dude. They said the next summer he came back after his dad built him that hoop. He came out there and whooped all their ass. Like nobody could stop Sam. He was jump shots on everybody. He was just killing. You know, that was the thing. It was amazing. He said that after that summer that his dad built him that hoop, Sam Jones was unstoppable. It was crazy.
Man.
It was crazy.
That's Uncle Sam. He ain't playing. He's gonna get it done.
It was right, exactly. And it was so crazy how like, you know, there's such a connection, you know, so many NBA, like there was another player, his name was Third Kill. I forget his first name. He played Third Kill, played for the Celtics in the 80s. When your dad was a coach, he's from St. Louis, Sam Jones from St. Louis. There's some other, you know, of course we got the mega superstar right now, Mr. Tatum, you know, being from St. Louis. Other players that played in the 80s, I can't remember their names. They're from St. Louis. It's just, and also too, how I don't know if you probably know this story, how Bill Russell was almost going to be a Hawk, but he was told not to come to St. Louis because St. Louis was super racist. So you may want to try Boston. You may rather do Boston instead. But of course, you know, it's Boston, Massachusetts, so we got the same problem out there. Yeah. but it was crazy. We almost had the legend here. And to me, I think if we got Bill Russell, would that have kept the Hawks here in Boston? I don't know. I think about that sometimes.
That's a good point. That's a good point because it's like Dad talking about Uncle Bill. Dad may not have lasted in Boston without Uncle Bill because Dad said he was on the verge of getting cut for the first 2 years he was on the team.
Right. And Bill, talk about that. Like Mr. Russell was a big talk on Red, like keeping KC on the team.
I think it was because of his playing is what kept Dad on the team because to keep them, because when they were in USF, they would strategize on what to do. And somebody, I think it was my brother, somebody said that they were instrumental in creating the alley-oop. I did not know.
What?
Yes.
What? They were doing alley-oops before it was alley-oops?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I thought you couldn't dunk in college back then.
I don't know if they could dunk. I'll ask my brother, but he said they were doing that type of strategy back then when they were in college. So by the time they got to the Celtics, I think Dad playing with being integrated with Uncle Bill helped him to stay on the team because he wasn't, when he first got there, Casey said he didn't play. My brother said he didn't play for the first 2 or 3 years because he was behind Bill Sharman. He was behind Bob Cousy. Right. And Bob Cousy said, if I had to wait for somebody, because I don't know if I would even lasted, you know, because you got to wait for somebody to get out of your position. Yeah. So, but he said, Dad said he was on the verge of being cut, but I think it was more of Uncle Bill's stance and how he played with Dad, but kept them there. And then once they saw those two guys together again, like they did in college, then that sealed the deal. And then again, Dad was doing his defense thing because his shot. Casey said that my brother, he said that Dad grew like 4 inches one year and it threw off his shot. So he never had a good shot after that. So he just transitioned to defense.
And he was a defensive specialist.
Yeah.
Wow. That's how he stayed in the league.
That's how he stayed in the league. And then that's how he left his mark in NFL too.
Yes. I think you vaguely I think you mentioned that one time on Twitter. Now what, say that? Your dad, what NFL?
He was the one that they said that they credit him for creating the bump and run.
What? Oh my goodness. I'm gonna tell you right now, my co-host, Coach Damon Hill, I'm gonna make sure he sees this clip. He is gonna be he's so pissed off that he's missing this episode and missing you, Miss Jones. Like, oh my goodness. He is so mad about that. Right, for real. Thank you. And he's gonna be even saltier when I tell him that your dad was in the NFL. Yes. And is credited for creating the bump and run play.
Yes, it's on. And I had no idea until he passed away. And someone on Twitter said, your father, because because he played for the Rams, he was drafted to the Rams.
Wow.
And to the Celtics, and he was like, I won't make it on the Celtics. Let me just go to the Rams. I can do that.
What?
And so when he went to the Rams, he was on defense, and they have I got the pictures. He was number 42,
What?
and he was in the exhibition game. But the way he the players described it, the way he defended, he would bump them. It was almost like he was boxing them out, is what he was doing, because that's what he did in basketball. But again, he played football in high school, so it was nothing foreign to him.
Right.
But
did he play at San Francisco?
No, it was the Rams, LA Rams. You mean
No,
San Francisco was in high school?
No, University of San Francisco. Did he play for college football there?
He only played football. He only played basketball for USF. Yeah.
So how did he get drafted by the Rams? How was he good enough?
Because of his athleticism.
Wow.
It's transferable. So
wow.
they drafted, and I only found that out when I was in elementary school, because I found the Western Union. I was messing around in their room, mom and dad's room, and looking through all their papers because I was busy, and dad just sitting there. I usually count his change, or I do something when he's, so I was looking and I found this. I said, Dad, this is the Western Union. Oh, cool. And it said, congratulations, Casey Jones, you've been drafted to the LA Rams. And I was like, oh, and this is when he was at the Bullets. See?
Yeah.
70 something, and he was drafted in 56. And I said, Dad, how come you didn't tell us anything about this? He goes, well, yeah, I played football, big deal, like, and I was like, but this is with the Rams. He goes, yeah. And I said, what happened? He goes, I got tackled. I didn't like it. But that wasn't the truth. But that's what he told me. That was not the truth. After all these years, the truth is, Mom said that he was playing in an exhibition game, and he got injured. He injured his hamstring or something. And when you injured, you can't play on it. You're going to make it worse, But the coach wanted him to keep playing, and he said, "I'm not going to keep playing. I'm going to make it worse, and I won't be able to do anything." Nope, you go back in there. Dad took off his helmet, and boop, he was gone.
Wow. Left right there during the game.
He was finished. And he said that he told Mom, he said, I can't support a family if I'm injured and play on an injured, on an injury. I said, there's no way I can support a family. So I'm out. So then he went to the Army, and then he went to the Celtics after that.
That is amazing. Like, okay, if that does not remind me of what just happened with Antonio Brown, then I don't know what people think that these professional athletes, and it's funny too. I wish Rodney Michael was still here, because we just had this conversation last episode we did, and he was saying, oh, they're professional athletes and they get paid a lot of money, and one extra game, 18 games ain't a big deal. Da, 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 da. You do not understand the physical toll that it takes, physical and mental toll that it takes on these athletes. Sometimes the money does not matter, because the money cannot buy your brain back. Money cannot take CTE out of your brain once you have it. Like, it's just, it's money cannot, it can get you surgery and get you new knees, but then the rehab for that, like, it's just, oh my God. Wow. That is crazy.
So that's what he did. And when you were saying too about injuries, like when I was in Hawaii, I had great doctors, and I had 4 surgeries on my shoulders because they would dislocate when I would play, because I'm double jointed when I was a kid, very loose, joints. Well, somebody ripped them out, and so my arm would just dislocate when I go like this. It would dislocate when I wave, it dislocate. So they had to put screws in them, for each one. But my doctors are so sweet. I said, well, what is it? Because the first one happened when I was only 8 games into my freshman year, and I was averaging like 18 points and stuff. I was acting a fool, I was having a good time,
Go ahead, girl.
This is great. This is wonderful. And then so I told the doctor, I said, what will happen if I keep playing and not fix it until the end of the season? He goes, you can lose the use of your arm. I said, I'll go get it fixed.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let me go get it fixed and I'll come back. And so they fixed me and I went back. And so I'm very grateful for them, because they were the opposite. They wanted to make sure that you were healthy and okay, rather than putting you out there on the field or on the court. So it's the same thing. So I understand when that man walked off. No, you don't go in and play when you're injured. I don't care what it is. You don't that person's body has to last them a lifetime. You don't force that on anybody.
You look at Kennedy Jet Smith on doing the TNT broadcast when he's doing inside the NBA. Watch that man go to that big screen teleprompter they do at the show when he breaks down plays. You know what I'm saying? That's why they race him, because they know his knees are messed up, just like Chuck's knees are messed up and Shaq's knees are messed up.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it's these professional athletes, the toll that they put on their bodies. You know, even if you play like you play at the collegiate level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Someone like my mother who played sports, she never played at the collegiate level, but she played sports when she was grown, adult sports, you know, semi-pro. And it was just like so much extra wear and tear on you, but it's ridiculous, man.
It's
ridiculous.
Painful.
And she's dealing with it now.
Yeah, that's what, and see, my older sisters, they run upstairs like no problem. They do this and do that and walk around. And I'm like, my mom has a little hip problem. So me and my mom are like limping over here and limping over there. And they're like, geez. And I said, man, I feel like I'm 100 years old. Then it said, but we didn't play college. We didn't play basketball for years. You did, so.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. Well, you know what? Since we're on High Off the Glass, my show, I know we're going to take a little very quick pause from basketball talk and Miss Jones talk, but I want to ask you, my show, like I told you, we talk about cannabis. You know, the whole purpose of my show, besides saying how awesome basketball is because it's the greatest sport known to man, is also that killing the stigma when it comes to the cannabis plant. And all the great healing properties, medical properties that come from this plant. It's so many medicinal purposes from it. Have you ever thought of, or have you used CBD or any type of cannabis product to help you with your ailments? You have. Great.
Yep.
Great.
CBD oil is
there
like
you go.
The best thing ever. Now that helps my knees.
Yes.
Big time.
It goes right to it. Don't you feel it?
Yes.
Don't you?
Yes. You feel it. So that I use that for sure. And I say, hey, you go do what you can. And I also know a young lady that had autoimmune disease, like really bad, that she had to have a lot of transfusions and stuff. And she started using cannabis for her ailment. And now she's off of her drugs and she's doing fabulous.
There you go.
So like you said, there's a lot of healing properties in that. In that plant. So, but yeah, CBD oil, my mom and I use it. It's wonderful. Right.
There you go. Have you ever smoked?
No, I can't. Because I can't even, you know why? Because I can't even handle NyQuil. I can't.
What?
I can't handle when I tried, like, when I was in college, I took Emma Pakalolo, you know what I mean? Hawaii. Right. My first party there, 2 weeks into it, first of all, I would be on the news or something if I did that back then, because it wasn't legal back then. But one of my friends started smoking in the party, and I had to leave. I gave me the biggest headache I could have. I couldn't even see straight.
Oh,
so I was
seriously?
like, after that. Yeah. And so then I didn't want to drink until I finished my college career. So I finally finished my whole college career. So 1987 came around. And I sat down and said, I'm going to give me a wine cooler. I'm going to drink a wine cooler. Man, I drank half of that thing and went to sleep. I said, this ain't right. I don't know.
Oh, a wine cooler?
Wine, 4%.
Come on, Brian. Come on, Brian.
As big as, I'm a Charles Barkley size girl. 4% alcohol, man. And
so
up until now, I try and drink a little bit. Now my little sister got me hooked on Crown Royal vanilla, but I literally have if this is a glass, I have this much Crown Royal. That's all I can take. I can't take any more in this much Sprite. I'm trying. So I know. So I can't. I'd be laid out.
Right.
I'd be gone.
Okay. Here's the thing. That is what's so great about the cannabis nowadays. The industry is so diverse and so, oh my goodness, so specific. You could literally get a strand for whatever you wanted it for, and you can get it at the type of potency and strength that is manageable for you. You can get something light, you can get something medium, or you can get something strong. You literally could, like, and that's so just wanted to put that in your ear.
Okay,
So you don't have to get like, it's almost like, you know, how social media is, like how Twitter is.
Yes.
If you want Twitter to tell you just stuff you agree with, boom, it'll tell you that. If you want it to tell you other stuff, it'll tell you that. If you want to know about, you know, whatever you want, like that's how across the map it is right now for cannabis. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's
excellent.
amazing. And another thing I wanted to tell you too is that if you can get a hold of any type of cannabis oil that's like full spectrum, full spectrum is really what you want, because full spectrum has more than just CBD in it. Has CBG, CBA, THC. Now THC is the property that when people smoke it, that's the feeling that makes you high, but it also can help your ailments as well. And those other, and it's also too, it's so many different, it's almost on a near daily basis where another chemical that has healing properties in it is found from this plant. Like it's so amazing. So if you come across something that's full spectrum, try that out and put that on your knees, put that on your shoulders, whatever's bothering you, because that can give you, you definitely won't have a high effect of it, but what it'll do is it'll help your knee faster, because it's more medicine that you're putting on there.
That's fantastic.
It's really good. It's really good. Have you heard of the endocannabinoid system? It's a skeletal. The endocannabinoid skeleton is basically a skeleton that was found in the 90s that we have inside of our bodies, and they're basically receptors that are already in our systems that are receptors and receptive to cannabis and all the chemicals from that plant.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It's like a legit thing. It's just so much. It's so many different. It's almost like you know, when your parents tell you don't eat candy because, you know, it'll mess your teeth up, but when you finally get candy, it's so freaking good. I mean, that's just kind of how it is with this plant. The government all this time has told us it's bad for it, so do this, it'll do that, but it actually can help us.
Isn't that something?
Right.
It's healing for like you.
That. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's fantastic.
I had to throw that out there, but I want to bring it back to you. So did you graduate in Hawaii? Were you in Hawaii for 4 whole years doing volleyball?
I was there for 5.5. I took my time.
Did you red shirt? You red shirted?
I was just slow. I just I played all 4 years straight, but I took another 1.5 years to graduate. Okay. So, thankfully for them, they give you a 5-year scholarship. So because you play for 4 years, and then the 5th year you just focus on your studies, you know. So some kids finish straight out. I took 1.5 years later, you know.
Yeah.
But it was worth it. It was wonderful. The culture. I told everybody, I said, you go over there to Hawaii, your life changes because of the culture and learning of these wonderful. You're learning about New Zealanders and native Hawaiians and wonderful people from China and the Chinese people, the Japanese, all the Filipinos. And I mean, it's just Samoans and Tongans and Guamese and Vietnamese, just a wonderful, beautiful melting pot of all these beautiful people and their cultures. And you don't ever want to go back because you learn so much from all these different people. It's wonderful, and it's just
stay there. Forget mainland. You want to stay there.
Oh, that's the place to be. And and I didn't have enough sense to say, Dad, you can afford to keep me here. And I didn't think because we weren't raised that way, so we don't think that way. So, but I wish I did stay there. And ironically, Dad, I found out much later, that he wanted to coach there at one point. And I was like, if I knew, I would have gotten him at least to be a consultant, you know, to be there with the kids and help them, you know, he would have done that. He wanted to. And I said, Dad, why'd you tell? And I told my friends that are players, I told them that last year, and they're like, what? Why didn't you tell us? He didn't tell me till later. I didn't know. So, but yeah, he loves Hawaii too. He and Mom been back. He went there on the way to the Olympics because they stopped there on the flight over there. But he loves Hawaii and same thing. Love the people.
I've never had fresher fruit than I was in that country when I was in that country, when I was in that state. I mean, I've never seen a prettier sunrise. I've never seen a prettier sunset. And I've never had fresher fruit ever. I mean, and I've been all across the world from being in the Navy. And oh dear God, and what you say, everything you say about Hawaii is 100% correct. I mean, you go there and you meet people that you didn't know existed. Yes. Because they're from islands and countries that you've never heard of. Right. You know, brand new races of people. Like it's amazing. It's beautiful.
It's wonderful. Everyone should experience that.
Right. So okay, so you go from there. You go from Hawaii. Then what year is it? What year?
It was 88. August 88.
Wow. So wait. Whoa. So you got to tell me this. So you mean the whole time your dad is one of the greatest coaches for the greatest basketball franchise in the world? You're in Hawaii.
Yep.
The entire time.
The entire time.
Whoa! Did you ever go to any games in the Garden or what?
I did, but when he was assistant coach.
Oh, okay.
When he was assistant coach, we would go to the games, and they would sell. It's funny, back then the Celtics were hilarious. What year was that? 80, 79, 80, 81, 82.
Okay. Bill Fitch was a head coach.
Bill Fitch was head coach, and it was hilarious because they would sell when we were with the Washington Bullets, they had the Landover Stadium, and they had a family room. You go in there and get your food. You know, it was like sandwiches and fruit and stuff like that. It was nothing fancy, but we loved it. You know, as kids, we were eating up the food. Then we go sit at our seats and stuff. Right. Man, we got to the Garden. We were sitting on the floor underneath the hoop.
Wait, what? You sitting on the floor?
On the floor. And
what you mean?
On the floor, you know where the at the baselines.
Yeah.
At the baseline, because
they didn't want to give y'all a seat.
They would sell them. They sold our seats.
Right, of course.
I thought it was tight because we were kids, you know. We didn't care. We were right there, so they were like, whatever. You know. So Dad was like, So we would sit. So on the news, you see my brother, and my cousin. You know, you can see Larry Bird goes up from. You see my brother, and my cousin. Or you see us sitting down there.
That is hilarious.
It was funny. We would go to their practices, but loved their practice. It was amazing because they were clockwork. It was just like, dude, it was the same thing with the Bullets. It was clockwork. They knew what they were doing. They would get the same thing with the Conquistadors, same thing with the Lakers. They were clockwork. They would say something, they would go do it. They would say something, go do it. So during those times with Bill Fitch was the assistant coach, that's when I would be at the Garden, stuff like that. I mean, head coach, excuse me. Yeah. Bill Coach was head coach. And so when Dad became head coach, I was going to Hawaii in 83. And I didn't find that out because they didn't tell me. I saw it on the news.
Well, and that's when your mom and your dad divorced?
Yeah. And Dad was hilarious because I said, Dad, why'd you tell us? He goes, well, you'll find out. You'll find out. He would always, I tell everybody, he would always say, Dad was so humble. He didn't say, hey, I got this. He would just, they'll find out, you know? Wow. So all those years of me being in Hawaii, we would play UOP, you know, University of Pacific, San Diego State, you know, USF, you know? Yeah. So the Celtics would be in the same hotel as we were. So we would be in the same hotels at the same time. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And so Dad would go to his game and say, hey, Dad, have a good game. Dad goes, you too, you have a good game. And he would go play the Lakers, or we'd play UOP, or we would play, you know, Pepperdine, or wherever we were. We ended up being in the same hotels like 4 or 5 times a year.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so that was fun. We never got to see each other play because we were, you know, we were both going to our games. It was the same nights, you know, except during Christmas is the only time. But
that's so weird how to, I mean, but volleyball is played, I guess, around the same time as basketball.
Basketball. I was being, that's when I was in basketball. Yeah. It's the same time.
Here's something you didn't know about volleyball. I bet you money you didn't know this. You know where it's invented?
No.
Oh, you didn't know where volleyball, your sport was invented?
No.
That'd be right next to the other greatest sport in the world, Holyoke, Massachusetts, which is a town right over from Springfield.
You're kidding me.
This man that invented. I don't know how. I mean, because a lot of stuff was, you know, Massachusetts was one of the, you know, beginning first colonies of this country, and basketball was invented in Springfield, as you know, and volleyball was invented in Holyoke.
I would have never known. I literally thought I was born in Hawaii because they play it like, you know, like people play soccer here, and then Massachusetts, they play lacrosse or field hockey. There they play volleyball. I thought it was always over there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's And you must have been like Maryland playing field hockey. That's what you meant, Maryland? Did you mean to say
No,
Maryland?
Massachusetts, Andover, they play field hockey.
We do play a lot of that up there too.
Yeah.
But what is it? What was the other thing? When I went to Patriots, when I went to Gillette Stadium, they have a Hall of Fame up there, Patriot Hall of Fame, and they got like the whole history of football. Supposedly football it's either Yale University or somewhere in Massachusetts. Basketball has origins in those two areas as well too. Wow. I just don't know it as well. Yeah.
Yes, wow, ma'am. That's amazing.
Yes, ma'am. That's crazy.
Sports is awesome. I love sports.
Yes, man. I love Massachusetts and East Coast.
Yes. Me too.
Right.
Me too.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so that is crazy. So getting back. Okay, so you graduate from University of Hawaii. And the whole time your dad, and I just want to say this because I didn't mention it earlier. Your father was such a hero and icon for me. Just being able to see that. Who picked his suits? Like, who picked his clothes? He picked his stuff. Because like everybody would say like Pat Riley was so sharp and Chuck Daly was sharp. Casey Jones was sharp as shit. Like that dude was always ridiculously fresh on the sidelines. Like nice black suit, red tie, navy suit, just hair in that perfect little box, boom, little bit of gray. Man, it was just, oh my God, my man looked so regal every night. And again, like Rodney Michael mentioned this on our last episode, his laid back demeanor. He never yelled, didn't do all this, do all that, but just everything got executed. DJ brought the ball up. He hit who he had to hit. Yeah. he gave it to Larry. Larry gave it to Kevin, or Gerald Henderson would bring it up, or Danny would bring it up. I mean, it's just everything. It just moved, like you said, like clockwork with that Boston Celtics team. And that's where I'm an 80s baby. So that's where my love came in at, like yes. And I don't even call this. I call this team the Lakers, because that '80s Lakers team, and that Boston and that '80s Celtics team, like, I don't call them. That's the real Lakers team.
Those
right
are the
there
real deals.
Yes, ma'am. Like that right there to me locked me into basketball. Watching those battles on CBS every Sunday night with my mother. So that's how that was. Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
Locked me in. Yes.
I'm with you on that. It's amazing.
That was it for me. So I just want to say thank you again, because your dad was so outstanding. So we fast forward to 88 and you graduate University of Hawaii. Where do you go from there?
I went to Dallas because all my siblings were there. You don't have your broke college student. You're like, okay, well, let me go. Let me go where everybody is. So I went to Dallas, and all my siblings, I think Casey was even there too at the time. Right. And we all all 5 kids end up there. So we kind of started doing our, figuring out what we're going to do for jobs. And my sisters worked for a good corporation, and my brother was working for Sheridan. My little sister was working. She's in the industry, she works for Delta now. She's in the airline industry. That's her passion.
Why did everybody settle in Dallas?
Because one kid was there, so we all kind of migrate where the other kids are.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Okay.
One time we were all in one time we were in, mom and my little sister were in Israel. I was in Hawaii. My brother was in New York. One sister in Oklahoma, and another one was in Dallas. So that's when we were like and then dad was in Boston.
Right. So you were living in Israel? You and your mother living in Israel?
They lived in there for a year. Mom was going through some stuff, and she wanted to go to the Holy Land and hang out. So she took my little sister and went there. And so that's my little sister's passion place. Now she loves that, and we're gonna go visit there and where she grew up. And so we were spread out for one time, and then all the kids, we all came back and ended up in Dallas. And then again, we spread back out. I went to Chicago after that. My brother went to Maryland, then he went back to Massachusetts. Another sister went to North Carolina, then she went to Chicago, and then Maryland. So then we're kind of moving wherever the jobs were, and after that. So we were all over the place. But I forgot to tell you, when I was in Hawaii, and Dad won in 84, and he won in 86.
As an Olympic coach?
No, this was when he was the Celtics.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's
Bobby,
okay.
I don't know why I thought '84 Bobby Knight was the coach of the Olympics. I don't know why I went to the Olympics on that. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
But for those 2 years, because I was in Hawaii, the news shows in Hawaii would wake me up and have me go to my hall director's apartment and watch the game from there while they film me until dad wins. And so that's how they did it. And I was on the news there in Hawaii.
Hold up. Right. So you mean to tell me just because are you in Honolulu? Where are you?
Yeah, it's Manoa. So it's like 2 miles back inland from Waikiki up in the little mountain area. So it's Manoa.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not Honolulu. Honolulu is like, if you're facing Waikiki, it's to the right. Honolulu's to the right. But
okay. So these people found out that you're the daughter of Casey Jones, who is now the head coach of the mighty Boston Celtics. And so they could get the local flair. They would wake you up out of your sleep to watch the Celtic games and record you watching them. Yeah. Are you freaking kidding me?
Well, it was hilarious. And it was at the time when the Celtics play at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Sundays. Yeah. It would be 7 o'clock for us. So it's 5 hours.
Right.
Behind, so they would, my hall director, they would call him first. They would call Damien, and Damien would call me, Bryna, the news is coming. You better come over. So I throw something on, because I already played volleyball like all day the night before or something. I were running over there, and I would, watch, and then they'd be, watching my reaction. And if they didn't win, okay, well, we'll see you in a couple of days. We would keep doing it until they won.
Yeah.
The time when they won,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's good. The time when they won, apparently my hair wasn't too good because my roommate saw me and she told her mom, "Yeah, Bryna usually looks better than that. I don't know what happened."
Oh my goodness! No, they wasn't talking about your hair, yo.
That was tore.
Oh my goodness! It was tore up. Right.
Trying to get my mind together.
Oh, that is hilarious.
That was funny. And my baby sister, she was there in Boston during the time when Dad was coaching. So she was on in '81 when the Celtics won. Yeah. And they had the parade and stuff. We were nowhere near them. We were way the heck, we were on the outskirts trying to even find them, Right, so when they won '84, my little sister was on I think it was '84, '86. She was hanging out, and DJ said, "Come over here, come here." And DJ got her on the truck. Yeah. So she was on the truck.
Nice.
DJ
nice. Yeah.
But the rest of us, we were nowhere near.
Oh wow, that has got to be amazing. So you got to be there for the championship parade
for the '81. For '81, but my sister did for '84 and '86. My little sister.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You didn't want to go back up there for the other ones?
I was still in Hawaii.
You could have took a plane.
That's like a 12-hour one way.
Yeah, flying to Logan, fly into that mug.
That was a long way. Yeah, so I couldn't get there. And plus I was still playing volleyball at that time. Yeah, I was still playing volleyball for USVBA volleyball, so I couldn't go.
I get it. Thank you so much for dropping that story about oh my God, the cameras and oh wow, that is crazy.
Hair tore up.
No doubt.
I spoke well, but just my hair was tore up.
Hey, at least you was on camera. You was repping your family. That's good. Because all they wanted was they wanted to tie in the local connection. That's all it was.
You got it. And they were great. Yeah. They were so sweet.
Oh, that is beautiful. All right. So you guys are all settled. You're all settled in Dallas at this point. Now, what did you graduate from Hawaii with? What degree?
My degree is a fashion merchandising. It's a BS, it's a Bachelor of Science, because with textiles, you have to know all the chemistry and all the material. So It's a BS, it's a Bachelor of Science. So It's a fashion design major, but I'm a fine artist and I just didn't want to do fine art. So they let me focus on fashion illustration. So for like the final, everybody was supposed to, you have a full-on fashion show in a hotel. But since my focus was on illustration, they let me do all the designs and do all the boards, all the designs for each artist. So for each fashion designer. So
wow. So what does that equate to? I'm sorry, finish that. So what happened?
And so it equates to like having like if I made all the posters for all the people that were going to show their wear.
Oh, Okay.
So, but since back then there was no computers, there was no Photoshop, everything was by hand. So I drew everything out and had cut out pieces of each person's material of their final garments, and did their names and stencils and all that kind of stuff all by hand. And there was like 12 different designers. Wow. So I was, and then I had to put all the boards in the hotel. So that was my final. It was to do all the boards for each designer. Their finals was to do a design, a clothing design, and have them walk down the runway.
So to me, I feel like, does that job, like, could you run Vogue magazine with that degree?
Yeah.
Like that's what I was thinking.
You definitely can, because one of the classes we had to actually do a magazine layout for the final. One of the other classes.
Right.
So yes, you do that. You could do merchandising for Neiman Marcus, for fashion houses, for do all the business side of it. The windows, the design of the windows, like in Macy's design, all that kind of stuff. Right. That's what that degree would do. But since I was so big into the art part of it, I focused more on artistic stuff. So when I was my first real job, I had little small jobs, like medical jobs, just to keep the bills coming. But when I did a real job was with Kraft Foods, they put me with the HR person heard that I was an artist. So she said, we have an admin position for finance, but I think you should be with the ethnic marketing department, because they do multicultural marketing, and they do grassroots projects. So maybe you can help them out with their artwork. And that's what I did. And I did, like, for the Alma Awards, like Cheech Marin was having his own little party. So I did his invitations for him.
What?
That kind of thing. Yeah, it was stuff like that.
Whoa, what does Kraft and Cheech Martin have to do with each other? What?
Because Kraft Foods sponsored the Alma Awards back then.
What's the Armor Awards? What is it?
Alma, ALMA.
Oh, Alma. Oh, Alma yeah.
Award.
What is that? I've heard of that organization. What do they do?
Yeah, they celebrate Hispanic, Latino achievements in the arts. And so he was like one of the people that was getting an award. Yeah. And one of my managers, she said, for his little party that we're going to have, can you make like a little design for an invitation? So I did a little invitation. So that was awesome. The graphics and stuff. So I would do that for them. And then one of my other bosses saw the artwork, and she said, you need to be in packaging, like graphics, project manager for packaging. And I said, okay, I don't know how to do it. She goes, we'll train you. And so they hooked me up with this wonderful woman. We're still friends to this day. This was back in 1998, 2000. We're still friends to this day. Wow. And they taught me how to be a project manager for graphics, to get it from when the brand says we need to do this design, connect with the design firm, get the creative brief done, translate what's going on and what the brand team needs for the design firm. Because brand team know marketing, but we know design and what colors, that kind of stuff. Why it needs to be this way, why it needs to be designed this way, and then get it all the way into approval, to the legal approval, to FDA approval, USDA approval, to the pre-press printer, and to the plant. So that was my job, to get all of that moving. And so I loved it. So that's what I've been doing ever since, for different corporations, from Kraft to PepsiCo to JCPenney's, so Valspar. So I was doing that. Then I was laid off because of COVID.
Right, of course, damn COVID.
Yeah, but now I got a new job, and it starts this coming Tuesday, doing the same thing for healthcare focused marketing team. So
Miss Jones, good God, sister, I want to hug you. You're so accomplished. Like, goodness, you're so accomplished and so awesome. That is amazing. I love how, and thank you you just brought it to present day. That is so cool. That is so cool the way you did it. Thank you for bringing it that right there. So, but bring it back. What would I recognize, stuff that you did, that you had a hand in, like from Kraft or Pepsi or from any of those different companies that you work with?
For Kraft Foods, the main thing was DiGiorno. I was in the pizza group. They own DiGiorno, California Pizza Kitchen in the store.
Don't play with me. Don't play with me. That spicy chicken pizza y'all used to come out with, that was my shit. That spicy chicken pizza. Don't play with me. What? You designed that box?
I was the project manager for the designer. So the design team would design the box, but I would be with the brand team explaining with the design firm, this is why you need to have it this way. You know what I mean? So I was like their go-between.
Wow.
What gave you
Who told you how it had to be? I guess that's what the company did. Your boss said, we want it like this. Okay.
Yeah, the brand would say, hey, we're trying to drive sales or trying to make sure that our branding stands out behind the foggy glass of the pizza. You know, people have a sea of like Freshetta was a big one at that time. They have a sea of green and white, you know, this and that. We don't have an identity for DiGiorno. So my big boss would go in and we would hire design firms, and they would make a brief to see what is the best way DiGiorno can break through on shelf. And they would do all these tests and retests and photo shoots and all this kind of stuff to find out what really is DiGiorno. They would do research with consumers. And DiGiorno, when it first came out, it was a white box with a top shot down of a pizza. That was never done before. It was very graphic. And I remember before I worked there, I said, I like that pizza because that's cool, you know, because nobody ever did that before. They would have, you know, so then they did that for like 5 years, and the consumer was like, wait a minute, you guys need to change this now because it looks, everybody's doing it now. So
I don't even remember that. Oh, you
do? Yeah, if you Google it, you'll see the old, it's a white box with a pizza top shot down. So
it's like I vaguely remember. Okay, I remember your stuff though. Yeah.
The other one is when they did the whole redesign with Wallace Church and stuff like that. It was a flood of red for DiGiorno because that's what the consumer said that we were, with a big huge face of pizza, like in a curve, as they would say, the pepperoni is like saucer like. Coming towards
when it curves up the pizza, the pepperoni would curve up.
Yeah, they call it stained glass pepperoni. That's what they call it in a photography shoot. And it was just natural. It's just how they shot it. And so that's what a project manager would do. They would help you transition all of that stuff and make it go through the system, through the pipeline. So
wow, that is amazing. I see you're a very visual person. Your outfit is so beautiful, so beautiful. I love that painting behind you. Your decor that you have in your home is amazing. Where did you're more than welcome. Where did you get all this? Like where did this the visual, the artistry, like where did that come from with you?
Dad was a poet. Did you know Dad wrote poetry when he was a kid in elementary school?
Oh man, Coach Hill is gonna be so mad he missed this interview. Oh my God, your dad was a poet too?
He was a poet. Dad was writing poetry. He said he would walk to school and he would write about this is funny. This is how Dad is funny. He'd write about the mountains and the sky and all this. So that's what we would see.
Right.
And I said, well, Dad, where's your poetry? You've been doing it now. Dad goes, oh, nah, I'm done. But
wow.
Then he said, then my auntie, his baby sister, Aunt Louise, she said, did you know your father can cook? I said, Dad can cook. I know he could barbecue, but I didn't know he would cook except one Christmas when Mom couldn't wake up, you know.
Right.
And I said, she said, oh, he cooked for us all the time because he was the oldest sibling, and he would cook and take care of all the kids.
Right.
I said, Dad, you cooked? He goes, yeah. She said he would make great sweet potato pies. Said, Dad, how come you don't cook? And this one he was with my stepmom. You don't want to cook, you know, she's always cooking for you. You got to give her a break. Dad goes, I just say I'm hungry, and she gives me food. I'm happy. I said, Dad, you're wrong. But my mom and my birth mom, now she is an artist. She does interior designing. So all this time I thought an interior decorator designed all of our houses, because we had like regular houses. We didn't have a mansion. We just had regular houses. Yeah. But they were always beautifully designed. I remember that. And it was her. She said, I got these kids, they're going to school, let me learn something. And she always liked color and stuff. So she took a class at the Howard, what was it called? It's here in Maryland. It was a little community college. And she took a class and she also, I think when she was in Boston or something, she had a, what do they call it? It wasn't online those days. They had to mail it to you, the classes. And she took interior design, and she's when they designed all of the interiors of the house. And so I got that from her too. Yeah. So that's where this came from. And we have cousins that are artists and photographers, and so that's where I love, as you can see, I love a lot of color. Color.
It looks so good. Miss Jones, this has been amazing. Like, wow, I'm gonna tell you right now, Rodney Michael, man, he had to go ref them games. Yeah. when I tell him the rest of this conversation, he's gonna be mad as hell.
Mad. Right, I will say for him I will say for him the story of how I got the new Magnum PI.
Yeah.
I did something for them, and they put what I did in their TV show.
What is that show still out?
Oh yeah, it's in their 4th year. Yeah.
It's in their 4th season. Wow.
Yeah.
Something you did something. We did television work as well.
Well, I did. It was more like a social media thing, because like
You know what? If you want to save it, you can save it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'll save it for him. So he'll have something. Yeah, I'll save it for him.
You know what? I'm a tweet you, so you tell me in the tweet.
Okay,
I gotta
yeah,
know.
that sounds good.
Yeah, I gotta know.
Do it.
And all you listeners, y'all make sure y'all check in next time. Miss Jones, tell me, pronounce your first name for me because I don't want to mess it up.
That's okay, Bryna.
Bryna, that's it.
Yeah.
Bryna. This has been awesome. Like I've interviewed. I was blessed enough during the pandemic to interview. The only other famous person I've interviewed along with yourself is Aida Jones. Aida Jones. I mean, I'm sorry, Jones. I'm thinking about you. Aida Rodriguez. She's a comedian. And the sister is funny. You should check her out.
Okay,
and after I did that interview, I was elated. I felt so good because everything went great, and it was a perfect interview. It was the first celebrity I interviewed, and I feel the same way right now.
Oh,
Bryna, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. This was amazing. I just want to say thank you for coming out, checking out High Off the Glass. I just appreciate you taking the time. These stories were amazing. You have a gorgeous smile. You are more than welcome. You have an even more beautiful aura. I cannot wait to have you back on this show again. Thank you so much for taking the time.
I appreciate you asking me on here, and I look forward to talking to you all so much more. Thank you. It was fun.
You are more than welcome, Ms. Jones. Thank you, and we will have you back as soon as you're available. And when I get them yahoos to come on in, because they got all questions for you.
Okay, that sounds good.
You don't have to go nowhere, but I'm gonna wrap this episode. Hey, thank you everybody for checking out High Off the Glass. This was an amazing episode. You see it. We were blessed to have the incomparable, it's super talented Bryna. Did I say it right?
Bryna
Jones. Yes. Like I'm so scared. Okay. I'm so nervous. I'm gonna mess it up. Bryna, okay. We were blessed to have Miss Bryna Jones here on this show today. Thank you again, sister, for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right. See y'all later. Keep hooping. Keep smoking. Peace. We out.